Good morning, everyone. My name is CarlyMinniti. I am one of the clinical nurse educators here at Riverview Medical Center, and I'm going to be talking about accountability and responsibility as a charge nurse. I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, so accountability and conflict management. So as a charge nurse, we are accountable to some things and we are responsible for some things. It's important to know the difference. When you're accountable to something, you have to take ownership of it. So if the supervisor asks you questions and you give them answers, you're accountable to those things that you answered. Responsibility. You can be the owner of a task, but it can be shared. Everybody that is working on that unit that day is responsible for tasks. You can assign tasks to whether it's RNs, PCTs, secretaries, whatever it may be, and you are all responsible for those tasks. But the things you are accountable to are a little bit different because you really have to take ownership to it. Somebody has to take accountability. Just an example, when you need your BLS renewed or your ACLS renewed, you're accountable to do that. Nobody can share that responsibility for you. So there's a difference between responsibility and accountability. So you need to know what you're accountable for and what you're responsible for. Charge nurse enforcing the Nurse Practice Act. So you're accountable for safe patient care of every patient on the unit. By how are you going to do this? You're going to provide clinical support as needed. Making sure the staff assignments are appropriate is another example. How about knowing where all your team members are at all times? You're accountable to that. And also where your patients are. If any patients are going off the unit for tests, as a charge nurse, you should know where everybody is. If anybody's going on their breaks, what time people are taking their breaks and things like that. Also, you want to take a good report from the charge nurse that is leaving and give a good report to the charge nurse that is incoming. So the communication is there. It's really important to have good communication as the charge nurse, especially between shifts, because that's when things could easily get missed. Charge nurse roles. Engages a team player, team builder, creates a positive work environment. So maintaining positivity can be something that might be difficult, but if you're maintaining your positive outlook on the day, it's more likely it's going to rub off on your team members. Demonstrates behavioral expectations, teaches and shares knowledge and expertise, serves as a role model, directs and delegates patient care activities, and empowers team members. So you want to enforce standards of practice by role modeling, being a positive role model. Levels of conflict. So levels of conflict are managed differently in healthcare setting. Different types of conflict can occur. Interpersonal conflict, as we have here, interpersonal struggles, ethical dilemmas, role demands, work overload, accountability. We have interpersonal conflict between two or more people, resulting from differing values, opinions. So an example, conflict with nurse managers, doctors, patients, and families. Intergroup conflict among individuals with a team, negative, could disrupt the function. But there can be positive conflict. We can find that conflict can help us come to resolutions, positive resolutions. So different people with different opinions can collaborate and find a good solution to a problem. Then we have intergroup conflict, misunderstanding, competition, rivalry between two or more groups within organizations. Some examples here, who's going to complete the skill. We want to make sure that we are active in resolving conflict. Those are one of the responsibilities of a charge nurse, trying to resolve the conflict of the unit to avoid problems and issues. So what's your style? personal conflict management style. There's accommodating, competing, compromising, avoiding, collaborating. Everybody has different personalities. Different charge nurses could function differently. Accommodating, so like if a patient wants another nurse, is it appropriate to give that patient another nurse? Why do they want another nurse? Maybe the accommodating charge nurse will change the assignment to accommodate the situation, and maybe it'll be for the best, but you also don't want to see something as staff splitting, so this could be a negative thing as well. Competing, so the individual wants to win at all costs. The nurse wants to maybe go against the doctor's opinion, or maybe the doctor didn't order a test or a procedure, but the nurse wants to do it anyway because they think that they're going to help the patient. This could be competing. So we want to make sure we're practicing safely. Is this okay to do? Is it safe? Compromising. If you're compromising, maybe you'll say, okay, can I give you this admission now? I'll give you 1 or 2 less patients. So you want to find a way to compromise. Avoiding. Some people might avoid certain personalities on the unit. The charge nurse will give an admission to another nurse rather than giving the admission to the difficult nurse or somebody that they don't want to have conflict with. Collaborating is another. Making a solution that satisfies both parties. So this might be the best option if you could get there. And then we have the conflict resolution process. So, conflict resolution process, the steps. We want to make sure that we really listen. We listen to the nurse that's having the trouble. We listen to the visitor, whoever it may be, the patient. We want to really actively listen. Listen first and then talk second. Ask questions to clarify. Get to know what's really going on in that situation. You could agree on a common problem and come to a resolution by brainstorming together, but it's really just important to listen. Listen and really get the facts, reach an agreement. You want to keep your patients safe. You want to keep everybody safe and cared for and feel like they're heard. So the last thing I just want to speak about is unit-based councils. It's really important for your units to have a unit-based council champion. If you don't already, or maybe you know who your unit-based council champion is. So the purpose of the unit-based council is for nurses and nurses in leadership positions to convene with each other to work towards making clinical and business decisions that affect the delivery of nursing care in their unit. So each council will define their purpose statement, accountabilities, goals, performance measures, scopes, or metrics. There's usually a chair and a co-chair, hopefully. It'd be nice if there was one from, the night shift and one from the day shift. So they provide direction to the council and lead the meetings. A liaison or advisor, maybe a nurse manager, A&M, educator, to provide mentorship and guidance as needed, but not to govern the council activities. This is really for the staff nurses to be able to collaborate with one another without having, a manager or another leader running these meetings. Secretary, somebody who's appointed individual to document and store meeting minutes. Membership will be determined by each council to ensure adequate representation to accomplish council activities, at least every 2 years. Meeting schedule. The council will meet once per month. So that's the hope, that the unit-based council meets once per month, so they can review anything from the past meetings and try to collaborate more frequently to, resolve any issues or things that they bring up. So here's just some example of council goals. Evaluate policies and procedures of unit-specific standards, analyze quality data, and develop action plans in collaboration with the nurse manager. Foster evidence-based practice, assess and plan to meet education needs of the unit. Analysis of data and develop action plans for turnover rates, vacancy rates, staff satisfaction, foster a work-life balance environment, and carry out the HMA's professional practice model. Foster effective communication among staff members. In most cases, the unit-based council leader would also be a part of the professional practice committee. So this is really something important for your units to have, is unit-based councils. So if you don't know if your unit has one, or you do know, get involved. You could advocate for yourselves there. It's really good to have a unit-based council that functions, and meets frequently to discuss the unit needs. And that's all I have for today. Thanks, everyone.